C'est pourquoi je nommerai dans les prochains jours un Premier ministre.
This is why I will appoint a new prime minister in the coming days. I will ask them to form a government for the general interest, representing every political force within the spectrum of parties destined to govern, and that they could join or at least agree not to bring it down. The prime minister will consult and form a more effective government at your service. Its priority will be the budget.
Meanwhile, far-right leader Marine Le Pen told Bloomberg in an exclusive interview that she believes the outgoing administration's plan to bring the budget gap to 3% of economic output by 2029 is not feasible.
Getting to 3% in 2029, I don't think it's credible, but I'm not the only one. I don't think it's credible either to the president of the Cour des Comptes. Once again, these are simply promises, and they know very well they can't keep to them. Mr. Barnier made this promise, and in reality, his budget worsened the deficit by 12 billion. So, if we don't make significant, intelligent structural savings with regard to the state, and if we don't put in place the conditions so that companies can work, invest without being suffocated with extra taxes, we won't get there. But with these two solutions, we can succeed as quickly as possible to get back to a reasonable deficit, even if the 3% was just decided on the back of an envelope.
How fast could that be? C'est l'affaire de quelques semaines.
Well, it's a matter of a few weeks. We'll discuss it with the new Prime Minister. We'll work together. We'll explain what our red lines are. Our red lines are we can't ask the French people to pay the bill for the mistakes of their leaders. That's what Mr. Barnier did. He massively increases taxes, he hits sick people, retired people, he hits everyone. And at the same time, once again, there's zero savings from the state. That's inadmissible.
OK, the National Rally leader Marine Le Pen is speaking exclusively to Francine Lacqua, who joins us around the studio right now. Back from Paris then, Fran. What else did she have to say about the budget?
Tom, good morning. We had a great conversation. It was about 18 minutes long. And actually on the budget, she was quite interested in speaking or making a message to the markets. First of all, she looks at the markets. The first thing she said as I walked in was, look at the markets. They're not too worried about what happened, because in France, she's getting a lot of blame for having almost dissolved the government. Now, on the budget, she had a very long-term view, and I was surprised that she said, look, some of the things that they promised, so it's at 6% of GDP. This year, it'll get to 5%, 3%. She says, we need to take a good look at that. She says, why 3%? We need to make sure that it's sustainable. But the fact that she's looking at the markets and at least knows that she wants to stay within the EU rules, maybe it's of some comfort to the market. So it's very clear that she thinks the next Prime Minister will be tasked with making her happy enough to vote him through. So she, struck this message of conciliation, saying, look, I'm ready to work with, no matter who he appoints, it's the policies that I'm interested in. And I think she's hoping that taxes will come down. That felt to me the one thing that she was hoping for.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. Whatever one may think of the brinkmanship, whatever one may think of her politics, she's right when it comes to the markets, isn't she? I mean, French stocks are up for 6 straight days. And on the back of your conversation with her, that spread over the German debt narrowed. So she has a point. Why are the markets, what is your understanding of why the markets are relatively, within the context, relaxed?
Yeah, so frankly, it's a little bit odd, because if you look at the next 5 to 6 months, it's very difficult to see a way forward. If you look at Parliament, I mean, remember, they have to find a government with the 3 blocks in Parliament. They're extremely difficult. You have right, far right, left, far left, and then you have a centre which basically disintegrated. So it will be very hard to find a broader coalition than what Michel Barnier had. I think the markets are probably looking at the ECB as a backstop, saying, look, no matter what happens, they're there to react. And remember, it was such a shock when Emmanuel Macron dissolved Parliament back in July that kind of hit French assets. So maybe the markets at the moment are in a bit of a wait-and-see situation, thinking it can't be as bad or as concerning as what happened in July.
Yeah, a lot of it already priced in. The ECB maybe as a backstop. When do we get a new PM then in France? So
when we spoke to Marine Le Pen yesterday, she was pretty sure, and actually she said in the interview that she thought a prime minister would come yesterday, actually, almost the day after the dissolving of the government. We didn't get one. We heard, of course, from Emmanuel Macron that he vows to stay on. There's a lot of pressure, and you can really feel it when you're in France. There's a lot of pressure for him to resign. There's really no reason why he should resign. Marine Le Pen has not called for his resignation, so it looks like the president stays until 2027. But the longer he delays it, probably the longer he gets accused accused that it's his fault. And then, of course, Donald Trump shows up with with 50 heads of state for the reopening of Notre Dame. So I was expecting something before then so that it takes the attention away from the nomination of the prime minister. But I guess, Emmanuel Macron doesn't have a good name yet.